use and abuse you, and then after your service is done, it's like, good luck taking care of yourself. And talking about people who can't take care of themselves, children are being sexually abused, but it's not being reported because it's politically incorrect. Sexual abuse of 1,400 children unreported due to racism fears. Children as young as 11 were trafficked, beaten, and raped by large numbers of men between 1997 and 2013 in Rotherham, South Yorkshire. The Council commissioned review into child protection revealed, reports the Daily Mail. Victims of the assaults were doused with petrol and threatened to be set alight, intimidated with guns, as well as forced to watch brutal rapes involving other children while being told they would face the same fate if they spoke out. And they said, we can't really report on this because of the nationality of the perpetrators. So these are a bunch of Pakistani men largely, but it's politically incorrect to point that out to people. Just like when we saw the Marine the other day get attacked by a group of a black mob. And I'll say they're a black mob because it was a racial hate crime. They targeted this guy because he was white, and they thought it was justice for Mike Brown. And I don't think Mike Brown wants that at all, to have violence, senseless violence perpetrated in his name. I don't think that's what he wants one bit. But yeah, it's the political correctness of America. You can't even say that, you know, people were raped or robbed or whatever because you don't want to upset the status quo. And somebody who I'm very happy to see upsetting the status quo, Louisiana Governor Jindal, and he's reportedly set to sue the federal government over Common Core. And it says in the suit, the governor argues that the Education Department's $4.3 billion grant program effectively forces states down a path toward a national curriculum in violation of the state sovereignty clause in the Constitution and federal laws which prohibit national control of education content. And good for you, Governor. I'm glad to see somebody speaking out against this. We've seen people like Mrs. Iserby say that this is the deliberate dumbing down of America, and I could not agree more. You know, it seems like the standards have dropped since I was in high school, and I graduated, I guess, yeah, about 10 years ago or so. So this is the situation going on, and you don't want your children to be taught that 2 + 2 = 5. You want them to be taught that 2 + 2 = 4. Be sure to stick around because we have a special report, a series of special reports from Napa Valley. The crew is on the ground talking to the residents about how their lives have been shaken by the recent earthquakes. This is the INFOWARS Nightly News.
Alex Jones here to tell you about how you can help spread liberty worldwide while also enjoying what I have found to be the best tasting 100% organic coffee on the planet. For more than a decade, my favorite coffee has come from the high mountains of southern Mexico, where the Chiapas farmers grow their unique shade-grown Arabica beans. We have now managed to secure these sought-after beans in a highly customized blend. Discover and try a bag of the Patriot Blend 100% organic coffee at InfoWarsLife.com. This coffee gives you a long, smooth pick-me-up for hours without the headaches and heartburn that so many other coffees give me personally. Hands down, this is my favorite coffee, and it's taken us years to secure connections directly to the Chiapas Mexican farmers. Drop by the site today, order a bag or two, and I don't think you're going to be disappointed. Available in original or with our Immune Support Infusion Blend. You will be supporting a free press, all the while enjoying a truly great-tasting cup of my favorite coffee. Available at InfoWarsLife.com.
City of Austin tap water versus filtered City of Austin tap water.
I can taste dirt in it.
God knows what's in this.
This has an aftertaste.
Tastes like Austin water? Yeah, it does. Ah.
These people just sampled City of Austin tap water straight from the faucet. Next, we had them try a sample of tap water filtered through the ProPure G2.0 filtration system.
High quality H2O.
That one is better.
Tastes like nothing.
Yep, I know what good water tastes like. It's good water.
Most tap water contains added substances like fluoride, chlorine, Monsanto's deadly pesticide, glyphosate, and many others. Studies prove that these substances are linked to an assortment of major health issues, including tooth decay, lowered IQ, and even cancer.
It tastes like you're drinking out of the lake when you're drinking tap water.
Yeah, it has that processed flavor to it.
The ProPure G2.0 filtration system removes these deadly substances and many more, leaving only fresh-tasting, deliciously clean water.
Okay, this is very tasty.
It's good water.
Refreshing.
It's good.
Go to InfoWarsStore.com today. Use promo code WATER and save 10% off your ProPure purchase. Again, that's InfoWarsStore.com or call 1-888-253-3139.
Leanne McAdoo reporting for INFOWARS.com. I am here with William and Dino Sheps. They are fans, but they also live here in Napa. Wanted to come say hi. You guys actually experienced the quake. Tell me about it.
Yeah, well, I woke up and I was terrified. I mean, it was like a bulldozer was rolling through my house, and, you know, I've never been woken up to something like that. You know, we had one a month prior. It was like a 3.5, and it woke me up. So when I felt this one, I kind of knew that it was an earthquake. And then, yeah, it hit, and then all the power was out. And I tried to call my brother, and I got a hold of him before the phones got turned off. And I was just in cold sweats, sitting on my bed, and I was just telling my brother, give me a second, because I was just completely in shock and nauseous from the 6.1. And then all you heard, you know, when I went to bed, all you heard, I left my screen open, all you heard was just sirens and dogs barking and helicopters. That was it. So, yeah. Wow. And then there you go.
State of emergency.
Absolutely. I honestly thought the Russians were dropping something. So it was pretty violent, you know, and that's just, you know, it's just scary. You feel helpless in situations like that. And you just gotta kind of roll with it and, you know, pray for the best. I definitely am thankful our house is okay, and we had power. PG&E was great. They really were. In emergencies like this, to see the community get together and work as a team, and you know, it was really good to see, honestly. You know, but we are right on the fault line, so you know, we've had 60 aftershocks, and you know, like we had one last night. My brother was talking about. It was pretty scary. You don't know if the big one's gonna come or if we're done, or you know, so you just kind of roll with it. But as far as everything is going, you know, I'm glad to see the reporters out here and covering the news. And you know, it's bad, but it's good. It's like a test to see how the community, like I was talking, you know, how everybody's going to work together and perform in emergencies. So, but as far as, you know, the earthquake, you know, we're on the San Andreas fault line, so we are an earthquake country. So this the risk of, I call it the hazards of life, you know, and you just take those risks.
I am on Meadowbrook Drive in a beautiful residential working class community right here about a mile and a half outside of downtown Napa. This community is filled with friendly faces and family and a lot of children running around playing. And unbeknownst to them, this entire neighborhood was built directly on top of this relatively unknown fault line that was here. And you can see where the road has just separated into. It was pushed up against each other directly in this area. Sidewalks are about 3 feet high in some places. True to California fashion, some of the children have seen this as their opportunity to have their own makeshift bike ramps and skate ramps, trying to make the best of this situation. And you'll see these lines go directly from this house straight over to the house across the street. And it's like that through this entire neighborhood. Every parallel street that is running along this fault line has lifted sidewalks, lifted homes right off the foundation. People's homes jolted some 2 feet in some directions. And that's what they're seeing here in this neighborhood. Imagine this was your family. Imagine being here and knowing that your home is built directly on top of a fault line. This was just a 6.0 magnitude. At any point, they could get that 7, 8 magnitude that they're saying we're 150 years overdue. And that's quite a frightening thought. A lot of these families here are just trying to pick up the pieces, trying to rebuild, ready to move on. A lot of the children were supposed to be in school, but rather than starting school this week, the elementary school had a pretty bad gas leak, and they are actually using the school grounds as a dumping site for people to empty out their homes of all of the contents that they lost. And children are kind of getting an extra day of summer here, but that's really what we're starting to see. A lot of cleanup crews, a lot of emergency response teams out here, and the community just really banding together.
It felt as though a semi hit the side of the house. A tremendously loud shudder. She woke up screaming. We were very, very lucky in that lots of stuff was dumped, but we didn't find any real damage in the home. We're beginning to find cracks now because of the aftershocks, but the neighborhood has been pretty well damaged. People are safe, so it's things that are damaged, and that's always a good thing.
It kind of felt like, you know, somebody grabbed the house and was just doing this. and it was hard, and it was scary, and you could hear noises. You know, some of the noise was from the earth moving, and some of it was from your things moving. And I lived in San Francisco for 25 years, and so I always put a flashlight near my bed, have slippers. Well, the flashlight just took off across the room. We live on the street right behind this and never knew that the fault or the tributary or whatever they're calling this was right on our street. But we were really lucky, and because, you know, just we're even, you know, 6, 7, 8 houses down, and the orientation of the house and the cabinets made a big difference. The shaking kind of was east-west, and our cabinets are on the north and south wall. So they kind of shook, but nothing opened, nothing fell. This gentleman who was here before was on vacation, and his house was for sale, and he said the realtor went in, and as soon as she opened the door, half the neighbors came with brooms and pail bins and cleaned up. They knew he was gone. I mean, that's what Napa's about, you know, and so we're very resilient.
Today was the farmer's market, and in the farmer's market, they had big boards offering, you know, time and service and what you need. And it is that kind of community where the neighbors help each other. So, I mean, again, it's things, thankfully, not lives, and things you can take care of.
How do you wrap your head around now knowing that this neighborhood is directly on this fault? I mean, it's a smaller fault, but I mean, you're seeing it running right through your neighborhood.
What do you choose? Do you choose hurricanes or cyclones or earthquakes?
Or tornadoes, like in Texas.
You know, this is where you live, and you make do with what you've got, and you hope that you don't get clobbered.
Well, the one thing that I've lived in San Francisco for 25 years, and I've gone through Loma Prieta, and you just kind of know that, okay, the statistics are such that maybe it's every 20 years or 30 years. I was here in 2000, we had a minor quake. I mean, relative to this is a very minor quake. And you just think, okay, you know, and you fix up and do what you do. This is the first time, at least in this area, Browns Valley, we've seen any really serious structural things like this. So you just have to think, okay, statistically, you know, it might never come back on this fault. And the first one that we had in 2000, if you're living in San Francisco so long, my first fear is, this is a good one, but is this the big one? The big one. And living in San Francisco, that was literally always on your mind, the big one. You didn't hang anything over your head, you know, anything over your bed. I mean, you really were well-schooled in survival. So that was my first thought. Well, San Francisco was fine. This one, I didn't even think. I mean, I was just like, I didn't even think about San Francisco. It was so strong. I thought, if this is what's happening, I'm going to worry about it here. So.
And the truth is, you can't live your life in fear. You are where you are, and you hope that nothing will happen. And if it does, it's minimal. And you help your neighbors, and you move on.
Leanne McAdoo reporting for InfoWars.com.
Well, that's it for this edition of the InfoWars Nightly News. If you're not a member of PrisonPlanet.tv, stop by and get yourself a 15-day free trial. You can get the Alex Jones Show, the nightly news, the special reports, and the rants, and so much more at PrisonPlanet.tv. I'm Jakari Jackson, broadcasting from the InfoWars Command Center, and we'll see you again tomorrow night.
The facts are in. The studies are legion. Sodium fluoride and other toxic members of the fluoride family are devastating the health and cognitive ability of the American people. So why are the social engineers adding it to the water? Simple. Dumb down the host population that the parasitic technocracy is feeding on. We may not have been able to get fluoride out of the water supply yet, but we can help to get it out of our bodies. I am extremely excited to announce the exclusive InfoWars Life Fluoride Shield formulation, fusing 6 of the best documented ingredients from around the world to help the body remove not just toxic fluoride residues from the body, but a whole host of toxic substances. Let's take a stand against the globalists by blocking their poisons with Fluoride Shield. I use Fluoride Shield every day. Secure your Fluoride Shield and other pioneering formulations at InfoWarsLife.com today. Let's start cleansing our bodies now and support the InfoWar at the same time. That's InfoWarsLife.com.
You are watching the InfoWars Nightly News, which airs 7 p.m. Central at InfoWarsNews.com. Members can share their passcodes with up to 11 other people, and your support